All right. Well, speaking of debate, I don't know if this was respectful, but this was fiery. Katie, you appeared on the Piers Morgan Show.
I did indeed, yeah.
Where you took on not just Jonathan Conricus, the former IDF spokesperson who took part in the hoax accusing Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza of being Hamas headquarters and a Hamas weapons depot, but also none other than Alan Dershowitz, the famed lawyer and Israel apologist.
Okay, so without any further ado, here I am taking on those two disgusting people. And I didn't know, by the way, that Dershowitz was going to be on with me until the morning of. So that was exciting news. And here I am with John Conricus, as Aaron said, Alan Dershowitz, as Aaron said, and Matt Kennard, who you don't hear from in this clip, but who did a great job pushing back on these ghouls. I think that the claim that any and all criticism of Israel is anti-Semitic is a total obvious weaponization of anti-Semitism. It's pathetic. It's dangerous. It harms Jews like me.
Nobody ever says that.
Excuse me, Alan, you always interrupt people because you're a bully. Please be quiet.
Never.
Is Theodore Meron an anti-Semite? The Holocaust survivor who was on the committee advising the arrest warrants, is he an anti-Semite? Who used to be an ambassador for Israel? The other thing is that, of course, you don't want to hear that Israel's committing war crimes. And you bring up the fact that under the ICC arrest warrants, by that logic, the U.S. could be tried for committing war crimes. Well, guess what? They should be. Because, of course, they committed war crimes. Of course, they committed war crimes in Iraq.
That's the point.
You brought it up yourself. So
this
I don't
is
know
an
why
attack
you brought
against
that up
America.
as if that's disqualifying. But also, Alan's numbers about civilians are totally made up. There's no evidence of this. 90% of the victims of Israel's crimes against humanity have been women and children. And Jonathan, you are shaking your head, but you should be upset.
That is a classic line that you elicited from Dershowitz. How old are the children? Well, Alan, they're children. That's how old they are. They're children.
Right. Well, you know, it's a double classic line because a lot of people point this out. I didn't even think of this. I mean, this is a guy who's been involved defending and hanging out with and fraternizing with Epstein. So it gives it kind of a double meaning when he says, how old are the children? But
maybe he was asking Epstein that. How old are the
exactly.
children?
Right. He was. Yeah. And by the way, just so people, we'll go back to the clip in a second, but just so people know, I sound really bad and my video quality isn't good because this hasn't happened like in years. I can't remember the last time it happened. My computer literally like froze while I was in there and then my computer froze and then I had to rejoin on my phone. So that's why the quality is not as good as the other guys. But let's go back to that clip.
Your computer sounds very sensitive to sleaze and probably
right, exactly. It saw Alan Dershowitz and it was like, Yeah. I would be upset if I were you because you've been implicated in war crimes yourself. You lied about Al-Shifa Hospital. You claimed it was a Hamas stronghold. You were debunked by the BBC, Fox News, and the Washington Post, all of which said you did not provide the evidence that you claimed.
Not only do I claim it, I stand by it, and there's ample proof of it. And the difference between you and I is that I was on the ground.
Please? I know you guys are bullies who are used to
Okay, Jonathan, I'll let you respond after she's finished.
So you've been implicated in two war crimes. One is you defended Yoav Galant's starvation order on October 9th when you went on a Twitter Live and you defended it and you called them beasts. You called Palestinians beasts. The other thing is you lied about Al-Shifa Hospital. And what happened then? First of all, you lied. But second of all, I'm going to be charitable and say you didn't lie. Let's say everything you found, even though we know you edited the video and we know this because the BBC, Fox News, and Washington Post all said that. But even if the things that you had found had been there, it would have been a war crime. Why? Because in order to justify the exception to violating a hospital, you have to prove that it's an active terrorist center, which you didn't prove, even with the fake evidence you provided. The other thing is you have to use proportionality no matter what, or else it's a war crime. You absolutely did not use proportionality when you killed hundreds to thousands of people. You executed them. You turned off
hundreds of thousands, did we? Where you get your numbers from?
Executed.
You said hundreds to thousands,
right.
Not hundreds of thousands.
Right. So he's pretending. I don't know if it's his ear. It's like, or if he was just lying. I mean, obviously he's a professional liar, so I definitely don't put it past him. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Where do you get your numbers?
All right, Katie,
Which hundreds of thousands? You have no
please don't talk over each other.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, here's what I'll do.
You
Katie,
don't even know what you're
Katie,
talking
hold
about.
fire. Jonathan, please stop all talking over each other.
You did. So you probably know more than I do.
Katie.
So, yeah, that's. Do you see how Alan Dershowitz smiles when I bring up executions and war crimes?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, it
Such a
warms his
ghoul.
heart. It warms his heart. And of course, what did Jonathan Conricus do in Al Shifa? He went there as an IDF spokesperson, made these videos in which they planted weapons, like next to like X-ray machines, and you can see, as you mentioned, the videos were heavily edited to like, at one point the weapons are there, at one point they're not there because they're planted by Jonathan Conricus.
They like doubled.
And they showed like the schedule on the wall. Like, look, this is a terrorist schedule. But really, it was just like a schedule for the people working at the hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
It was just such ghoulish PR, and it was used for, a massive war crime, which is destroying Gaza's largest and most important hospital.
Yeah. And we have one more clip of me. And this one, I think you'll especially enjoy this one, Aaron. And here I am after, and before I show this next clip, I do want to clarify that I misspoke when I said 90%. I actually meant to say 70%. I did mean to say 70%. I wasn't like lying. And in fact, earlier that day, I tweeted out something about how it was 70%. But then I looked into it because I was going to explain it. And so the official death toll of women and children is 70%, according to the UN. But if you add to that 70% and women and children with male medical workers, male humanitarian workers, and male teachers and male UN staff, elderly men, disabled men, and the majority of other men who are non-combatants, you easily reach 90% civilians. But even the percentage of women and children could very well be higher than 90% because Israel is committing a genocide, not letting in any journalists. There are still bodies under the rubble, and there's no real way to have an accurate toll. But someone named Alan Dershowitz was upset that I brought up women and children being killed. Let's take a listen to what he had to say about it. 90% of the victims of Israel's crimes against humanity have been women and children.
It is the most sexist thing to include women and say because women have been killed, therefore they're civilians. We know that Hamas uses women.
Well, you're also making an assumption. Hang on.
I think it's also rich to hear Alan Dershowitz try to lecture anyone about sexism when you're Epstein's lawyer and friend. So that's one thing.
Hey,
being Epstein's lawyer doesn't mean he's a sexist.
I'm proud to be Bill Clinton's lawyer. I'm proud to be everybody's lawyer. Don't attack me for being a lawyer.
Lawyers do represent people. It doesn't mean that they are everything that those clients are.
That's pure McCarthyism. Pure McCarthyism.
That's your lane.
Pure McCarthyism.
Also, I want to say Israel has committed rape. Israeli soldiers, the IDF that you were part of, Jonathan, and that you were a spokesperson for, has raped people. And not only have they raped people, it's been documented by the Israeli media. There's video of it from State Amman that was leaked from State Amman. You see a man who was basically gang raped. And what happened? He was then hospitalized. An Israeli doctor had said as much. Then police try to arrest the rape. Then your fellow countrymen have protests in defense of the right to rape. Then a member of the Knesset says it's, quote, legitimate to insert sticks into people's rectums. So tell me about how your army is the most moral army in the world and your Knesset is so moral. Notice at the end, by the way, when I say, so tell me about how your army is the most moral army in the world, Alan Dershowitz actually says it is. He maintains that it is. Unreal, yeah.
Well, it's certainly a challenge it's one thing to like watch Israel's, crimes and just see all the carnage, but then to go up, head to head with people who cheer this on and think it's great. It's not every day that you get to interact with, a sociopath, and that's what you got to do, and you did a great job.
Thank you. Well, and you've done it too, Aaron. I mean, how is it for you? I found it it was harder to concentrate than I anticipated because when they're yelling and trying to interrupt so much, it actually does, it frazzles my brain a little bit. So how did you deal with it? Because you've been on many times. Yeah,
it's hard because, so much is being said at the same time and you want to respond to all of the malicious lies. You can't respond to them all because it's so easy to lie. You can just say something that's false. To say something factual, you have to actually explain it and have, facts to support it. And you only have a limited amount of time. But look, you went up against two of the most shameless liars there are when it comes to whitewashing Israeli crimes. And you took them on. And also your co-panelist, Matt Kennard, did a wonderful job too. Yeah, he did a great job. And it's a really entertaining debate, which people can watch in full at the Piers Morgan channel on YouTube. Yeah. And you're much better. It's very hard for me to stay calm, but we have kind of different styles of debating. Well, what can I say? it's important. You know, I just try to remember that it's not personal. It has nothing to do with me. You know, my hero, Noam Chomsky, was always so composed, and when he would debate people, and we just try to focus on the facts, which are on our side. And I try to remember that. But, you know, everyone has their own style, and yours was very effective in calling them out. And I think, you know, debates like this are important. Some people object to, you know, going on and platforming people like Alan Dershowitz and Jonathan Conricus. But I think it's very illuminating because you can see the contrast and which side has facts on its side and which doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, that argument is so stupid because the people platforming are the people on whose platform others appear. So like Piers Morgan is platforming them and platforming us, and we are going on. It's not like without us going on, he's not going to platform those people. The platform discourse can be a little stupid. Anyway.
Deplatform the platform discourse.
Yes, very good. Yeah, cancel the platform discourse, people. Yeah. Yes.